passed unanimously out of House Public Safety today, and will be in Ways and Means on Monday the 26th, and then likely to be on the floor on Monday, March 4th. I don't have any other updates.
Do you think all of your members will vote for it on next week?
I think we all have to see the engrossed version. I understand that Democrats and Republicans put amendments on in public safety, and I think that those resolve a lot of people's concerns about the bill. So we'll have to all take a look at it with the amendment on and have a discussion about the bill as amended.
Timing on SRO?
I think it'll be Monday in Ways and Means, and then Monday, March 4th on the floor, I would guess. No, but it has to get through Ways and Means. We need to get the committee report. We're taking the day off on the 27th because people have to go to precinct caucuses, and if you happen to live in like International Falls, being at precinct caucuses on Tuesday means you can't be here on Wednesday until, then we'll have a floor session on 5:30 to get the bill where it needs to be, so to tee it up for floor action.
Are you doing anything different because of the memorial services for the officers in terms of scheduling?
We've been in constant contact with law enforcement to make sure that we're moving at a speed that they're comfortable with and out of respect. So nothing's happening on Wednesday, the 28th. I expect many of us will be at the funerals.
The budget forecast, though, is on Wednesday?
It is, and I think it sounds like it maybe is going to be delayed till later in the afternoon, I think is the plan. That is a governor's office question, though not a speaker question.
So is SRO's going to be the first bill that reaches the governor's desk?
No, I just signed the tax bill. It's headed that way.
Do you know when that's going to get signed? Any discussion on that yet?
Probably today.
Can you talk about the ERA? It sounds like it might come up on the House first and be sent over to the Senate. Do you know anything more about timing on that?
So my understanding is that the advocates all work together during the interim, and that there is a collaborative approach of what language to include. And we're just going to double check and make sure with all of the members of the Senate and all the members of the House to find out that whether we have 68 and 34 on exactly the same language, because would be my sincerest hope that we do that bill once.
The sponsors on Representative Kraft's bill having to do with zoning and local zoning and land use, the Kraft bill. Is that anything close to a caucus position?
No. It was a bill that was introduced. It's moving through the process. There's lots of bills. I know, yesterday there was a presser that Protect MN had to talk about some bills. That's something they had planned a long time ago. And so all these bills, they get kind of thrown into the mix, and we'll see which ones the chairs hear and which ones make it through committee, and then if they can make it through the next committee. And as they start to approach the floor, then we talk about whether we have the votes. Not everything we have the votes for becomes a caucus bill. It's just the ones we all feel like really great about.
Gives it an advantage, meaning there's no cost on this bill.
Oh, being free, yes. Yeah. No, free. Obviously, policy bills are more interesting to me right now than finance bills, but we'll get an updated forecast next week, and we'll see.
Probably the same answer on the EMS bailout, the $120 million bailout bill for you.
Well, I think there's a couple of different things that will be happening in 2024. There will be bills that will be introduced where people expect to have appropriations made in 2024 to solve somewhat of an immediate problem. So in other words, they think it's worthy of a supplemental budget ask. Other things will be setting the stage for major action in 2025. And I'd say the more money they're looking for, the more fundamental the change in state law they're looking at, the more I would view those bills as stage setting for the next budget session.
Is that something you could solve through bonding, perhaps?
No.
Not EMS?
No, I think that's an operational issue.
You talked about stage-setting bills. One of them that got a hearing today, the Great Start Scholarship, it would be, if they got the full scope, would be quite costly. Is that one of the areas you think is do the work now but tee it up for next year?
Right. Increasing our commitments in the area of childcare is definitely a scalable ask. So there might be some things that we could do that are not super expensive this year. But I think in terms of a major new infusion of resources to childcare, that would be a stage setting exercise.
At any point, can we expect to see movement on the NOL write-off that Republicans
Well, I
have?
think because that has a fiscal note, we'll wait until after the budget forecast, and then we go through a whole internal process that sounds really arcane and boring. Just a second. Sorry, I can't hear myself think. We'll go through a whole internal process of whether we need to set a budget resolution in Ways and Means, and whether we need to give each of the committees guidance on how much they can spend or not spend.
So Floyd of Rosedale's here today, along with the Gopher fans. Have you told the they need to temper their expectations on bonding bill?
Floyd of who?
Rosedale, the pig.
Is that the pig? Because we beat Iowa in football last year.
Pounds of statue.
And how is that relevant to my life?
They're asking for money.
The bonding.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, look, if I were drafting the bonding bill, we'd be doing a big chunk of change to both the University of Minnesota and Minnesota State to take care of our assets. Maybe it's not sexy, but I think keeping up the state's assets is pretty important. HEAPR. It's really not a very good acronym, is it? Nobody knows what that means. Anything else? No?
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.